Were you in support of or opposed to her getting them? What were your reasons and what was the ultimate outcome? Do you hate them or love them? Be honest. My husband has insecurities. Although he supports my decision to get them, trying to stay as natural as possible and in proportion to my body, he is worried about me being noticed by other men and leaving him, which would never happen. I have assured him this is for me and me alone. I wish to fit better in clothing, as I currently shop in children's sections because I am also 4 feet 10 inches tall. I want to feel like a woman and not a child. Story 1. My wife has moderately sized submuscular shaped silicone implants, approximately 30B to 32DD. Pros. She looks absolutely fantastic. She likes how the breast augmentation balanced her frame. She has wide hips and a narrow waist, and she felt it was a little imbalanced before. The other thing that amazes me is that they feel totally natural. You would truly never be able to tell. She breastfed our daughter for a full year with no trouble. Cons. She stresses about them all the time. She refuses to engage in any outdoor sports beyond tennis because she's afraid of impact. She says it's like driving an expensive car. What was that noise? Has it always made that noise? Don't park near me. Another big drawback is that they will have to be removed eventually. Could be next year, could be 20 years later. There is no way to know. She knew that going in, but the new stress is deciding whether to remove or replace them when they fail. If you replace them, you start the cycle over. Speaking of failure, the only way to know if a silicone implant has failed is to get a magnetic resonance imaging scan. Scheduling an elective magnetic resonance imaging scan has proven extremely difficult. Even if you have the money, imaging centers require a referral. Cosmetic surgeons do not seem able to provide that referral without a second opinion. Overall, she is really happy with the way she looks. But if you asked her if she would do it again, she might be 50-50. To answer the question, I supported what my wife wanted to do. I think she looks amazing, but it was her decision, not mine. Story 2. Pros. They look great when clothed and are a confidence builder. Cons. Price, healing time, unsolicited attention, defiance of gravity, rippling in certain positions, scarring, cool temperature, hardness. The worst is replacement every 10 years. Story 3. With one, it made them just a showpiece and nothing else. She lost all feeling in her nipples and had minimal feeling in the surrounding area. Their ability to do something for her during intimacy was reduced to 0. In the end, she regretted it. Aesthetically, they were very well proportioned but did not work out functionally. She was 4 feet 11 inches tall, weighed 100 pounds, and had her breasts increased from a cup to C cup. Story 4. My wife and I have been married for 14 years. We got married at 19 and 20 when I was in the army. Like any good military couple. My wife is about 5 feet 3 inches tall and around 100 pounds, so she is pretty small. She has always been insecure about her breasts and remained insecure even after being together for so long. She talked about having surgery a few years ago, went to a consultation, scheduled everything, but then backed out. Last year, she decided to go through with it, and it helped her self-esteem tremendously. I have always been very supportive. I am self-conscious because I know I am a little thick, something I could fix by eating less barbecue and drinking less beer. I can only imagine how she felt about something you cannot change without surgery. She wanted me to attend every doctor appointment, which I did. She wanted my advice about size and such. I told her I didn't want to give advice because it was for her. I avoided the size recommendation for a while, but finally told her I thought she would be happier with a C cup versus a B cup, which she was in the end. It was awkward for me at the doctor's office because breast surgery is not something I have ever been involved in, but it was fine. As for me, I think it is just personality. All men are different. I was not worried about her leaving or other men checking her out. That happens regardless of who you are, what you look like, or whether you have had surgery or not. Unless you do something wild, I don't think it changes. When she had the surgery, the first few months were kind of weird, and she would keep adjusting them. She wanted me to feel them. I was scared they would rupture or something, which I know logically would not happen, but still. After a few months, it became normal and you don't remember how it was before. I just told my wife to do whatever makes her happy. Pros and cons. Pros, they feel fine to me. They used a high-quality implant with a more natural feel. I don't know what they are called, but they are a newer version designed to be tougher, last longer, and feel better like a Toyota Tacoma. They look good. My wife was back to normal in a few days. Women are incredibly tough. They go through C-sections and more, so for my wife, the surgery was not a big deal. She says she is way more sensitive now. She got to buy a lot of new shirts even though she didn't need to. The biggest pro is that she has way more confidence. Cons. She hated wearing the compression bra for the first 2 months and hated not being able to get in the pool for a few months. Like anything important, don't cheap out on something you need to rely on. Story 5. They were an amazing purchase. They looked and felt incredibly natural and boosted her confidence so much that she asked for a divorce. Story 6. My simple answer: I do not care either way. What I do care about is if my wife is happy and confident with it. Story 7. I supported my wife in her decision to have a breast lift and augmentation. She wanted to feel more like herself after our children had grown and she was aging in ways she did not like. She had the surgery and looked great. It did not really change how she felt about her life. She started an affair within a year. We are divorced now. Story 8. My wife had her breast augmentation done. She is taller, 5 feet 6 inches. She used to be somewhat bottom-heavy, meaning she had bigger hips and smaller breasts. Her mother and sister are both proportioned. I think that is what started her insecurity. When she mentioned wanting the procedure, I didn't oppose it. I just supported her. We researched an excellent doctor in San Antonio, Texas, and ultimately went with him. She has had 0 complications. It has been years since she had the procedure done. For her, confidence levels skyrocketed. She loves wearing tank tops and bikini swimsuits. She feels sexy, and I'm happy for her. I don't feel as if people stare at her. They might, but it doesn't bother me. As for me, I love them. They are perfectly sized for her frame and never lose shape. Even years later, they look as good as they did from day one. I'm not jealous or insecure. I'm just me. She is just herself with more confidence. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Story 9. My wife had large breasts when we met, so she had them for the better part of our marriage. She recently had them removed or reduced because of back pain, so she has smaller breasts now. Still breasts, though. Story 10. You seem very interested in fitness. You almost always place implants under the muscle for several reasons, but this involves cutting and permanently separating your pectoral muscles. Pull-ups, push-ups, bench presses, and any chest exercises will be uncomfortable, and doing them can cause the breasts to look unnatural. Take it from me, it is not worth it. Story 11. My ex had them because she had a single mastectomy. The advantage was that at age 60 her breasts looked like she was a freshly minted 20-something. The disadvantages were that they were cold, she could not really feel them, and they felt rubbery. Story 12. My coworker got breast implants when she was 24. For the next 10 years, she experienced severe emotional and physical symptoms and was constantly getting sick. It turned out her implants were leaking and poisoning her. She had them removed at 34 and will never get them again. Story 13. Pros. Clothing fits her better. She is more confident. She wants more intimacy. They look amazing and natural when she is naked. Most importantly, she is happier with herself. Cons. None mentioned. I always support her being her happiest, most comfortable self. It is her body. The money is ours, but all I care about is her happiness. I talked her through the decision with support but without offering an opinion. I loved her the way she was before. I love her the same after. Story 14. My wife got breast implants. Beforehand, everyone said she would divorce me afterward. It made me nervous and worried. However, I supported her decision, even though I was not attracted to large breasts originally. She got them. Her confidence soared, our sex life improved, and I started going to the gym. I love them, and so does she. I am starting to appreciate them more now because they are enjoyable. It was a good decision. Story 15. I know two men whose wives got breast implants and took them out to play, so I cannot say his concerns are unwarranted. I have never been with a woman who got implants while we were together, but after divorce, I have encountered both natural and enhanced. Only one woman had what I would consider natural-looking implants. I am not sure what she paid, but they were amazing. The rest felt unnatural, and I also believe most, if not all, had lost sensation in their nipples. If that is an erogenous zone, I would consider that as well. I have been with my current partner for 7 years. We are both in our 40s, and she has mentioned it several times. I prefer natural, and I think at this age she has the mindset of why bother now. But if you are 4 feet 10 inches, I would keep it modest and make sure you do not want to go bigger. Good luck. Story 16. Pros. She liked them for a little while. I told her many times I liked her body as it was, but she still didn't mind that she had them. Cons. Now she hates them because she thinks they make her look fat. It is more expensive to get them removed, which she wants to do. I am pretty sure they are limiting the amount of space for her milk supply now that she is breastfeeding. Also, people stare and sometimes try to record or take pictures when opportunities arise. Story 17. Men whose wife or girlfriend got breast implants. What were the pros and cons? Pro, more is better to a point. They look good. Con. I learned to tell the difference between natural and artificial breasts, which takes some of the pleasure away from viewing them. Initially, I was against the implants. It is my understanding that there is always some risk with any surgery. I did not want to risk her well-being for cosmetic surgery. Now, I enjoy them. Her breasts get more of my attention. My attitude is that what is done is done. Story 18. Looked at your profile. As an anesthesia nurse who worked for a plastic surgeon and has seen countless sets of breasts before and after, do not do it. You do not remotely need it. They cannot make you look like Sydney Sweeney. There is not enough volume to work with. Story 19. I had an ex who had cosmetic surgery. There were no major complications. However, the recovery process was genuinely difficult for her, and she has a very large scar she is now self-conscious about. After we split, she had the procedure reversed and seemed happier the last time we spoke. Whether that was post-breakup glow or not, I do not know. I was with her prior to the surgery and assisted with her recovery, but I always felt she did not need to do that. Anyway, just be ready to live with it even if it invites postoperative insecurity. Story 20. It happened right after college. I told her that I thought it was a bad idea, a totally unnecessary surgical risk that she didn't need. She was telling me how she just wanted fuller breasts to fill out her clothes more. She was gone in 3 months. She randomly showed up at my door 6 months later for a drunken hookup. I never heard from her again. Story 21. I have known several women who have had breast augmentation. While your mileage may vary, most people, including myself, greatly underestimate how much of an effect this can have on the amount of attention you receive. While I certainly find breasts attractive, I do not assign much weight to them as a feature when judging a woman's appearance. Many men do. I have yet to see a situation where it did not drastically change life for the woman in question. Breakups and exploration of social opportunities invariably happen. It becomes difficult to attribute the changes solely to the breast augmentation because the increased confidence also plays a significant role. Something to keep in mind: the attention changes you. How you manage it is unique to you as an individual. Metaphorically, if you are playing a game and get a power-up, do you continue to play the same way? I do not know your husband and am in no position to comment on his confidence. His concern is not misplaced, and the negative voices drowning the internet in misogyny do not help, even if he does not listen. If he was considering taking a pill that would make him 6 inches taller and give him an ideal penis because he wanted sweatpants to fit better, would you feel completely at ease? If you want your husband to feel better, you have to address his concerns directly, not invalidate them by assuring him something isn't going to happen. Get to the heart of why he feels that way and actually talk about it. Even if it feels silly or irrational, the threat feels very real to him. No person ever had their concerns alleviated by someone simply saying, "Don't worry, I appreciate the position you are in. A close friend of mine is your height, 34, but looks 12. Her husband is a couple of years older than she is, but she routinely gets referred to as his daughter. Body dysmorphia beats her self-esteem like a rented mule. I am on the side of people looking the way they want to look and feeling comfortable in their own skin. That being said, a word of caution. It doesn't mean what you think it means. People often assume the lack of a major boon is what is holding them back. In my experience, getting the cosmetic procedure, hitting a high net worth, losing weight, gaining fame, building the body, and so on can be a bit like wishing on a monkey's paw. If struggling with self-love or acceptance is part of this equation, this won't fix that on its own. Story 22. If my wife wanted them, I would be supportive. I would not ask her to. I know some women who have had them and said being touched there does not feel good. Also, they need to be replaced every so often. So I think it is worth mentioning all of that. To be honest, there is always going to be some man noticing you whether you have small breasts or large ones. Some men behave poorly. Story 23. Slightly off topic. My wife got breast cancer twice. Fortunately, it was caught in the early stages both times. On the second occasion, my wife decided to have a double mastectomy. After assessing the risks of reconstructive surgery, she chose to go with full closure, that is, going flat. It was never an issue for me. I just wanted my wife. It has not affected my attraction to her or our love life in any way. The horror stories of women from her cancer support groups who had reconstructive surgery regularly reinforce her decision. If there are any women reading this who might find themselves in this situation, please get in touch. My wife will happily offer advice on how to advocate for yourself. It is a tough choice to make, and while it is women who have to make these choices, it is very often a male-centric decision process. Do not be talked into something that might endanger your well-being, going from one health issue and being pressured into another. It is your choice, ladies. Story 24. 2 ex-partners had them. 0 advantages, not a single one. Lost sensation in the nipples. Looked bad. Did not feel nice to touch. Did not feel anything remotely close to what a real breast feels like. One had basically a flat chest before, but I preferred that over the new ones. So now it is an instant deal breaker. I hate them. Story 25. This is interesting to answer. My wife got implants after she was done nursing our children. She got them entirely for herself. Before getting them, she wouldn't let me see her naked and always kept her bra on. I briefly worried that others would notice, but I quickly stopped caring. We have strong trust between us. Pros. She feels more confident in herself. She feels desired by me. She feels sexier, though she still dresses conservatively. You can tell she has implants, but they still feel good, and I very much enjoy them. Cons. They aren't perfect. She is on her second set due to an injury that created an oddity she didn't like. I'm happy to answer any other questions via direct message if you're interested. Story 26. Pros. She looked more attractive, although I did not think she needed them. Cons. The local Major League Baseball team, the National Football League team, and a certain extremely famous celebrity who was considered everyone's uncle on a very famous sitcom thought she looked more attractive too. We did not last very long after that. Story 27. My wife could not stand how saggy they were. I told her repeatedly that I did not mind them being like that. They were big enough, the nipples responded nicely, and she liked it. I also loved that the nipples were a bit dark and big, super sexy. Fast forward 6 years. She had the surgery, and they look fantastic, perky with pink nipples. However, she gets no positive feeling from nipple play. She only feels tickled, even during sex. She lost sensation. Story 28. They looked strange on her. The surgeon said they would settle down, but they never did. It looked like someone had attached balloons to her chest. Story 29. Having looked at your profile, you don't have a small breast problem. You have a height insecurity. It will be cheaper to get therapy than to cut yourself open and insert silicone into your body. Most men do not actually like fake breasts because they do not feel natural, as they are much firmer than real breasts. Personally, I think you would be better off with therapy for your insecurities. If it does not help, then you can revisit the surgery option at a later date. Story 30. My wife has some implants and has had them for about 10 years. I love them. She complains that she wishes she could get them reduced. Downsides: she has lost most feeling in her nipples and says they feel like pins and needles when touched. Sometimes random areas are sore. I assume the implant is rubbing somewhere inside. They are theoretically supposed to be replaced every 7 to 10 years, though I could be off on the time frame. Upsides: I love breasts. Story 31. It was great when my wife had them. Fun to look at. Fun for me to play with. Some tips: any surgeon will do the procedure if you pay them. They do not all do great work. Shop around. Find one you really trust and feel comfortable with. Next, you need to make sure you are fit and have no back problems. A bigger chest can get heavy and put strain on the back and neck. Keep the surgical wounds very clean during healing and take antibiotics as prescribed. Follow all medical advice and do not hesitate to see a doctor if there is abnormal swelling, heat, bruising, discharge, or other concerns. Lastly, the implants will need to be removed one day. My wife had them for almost 15 years. She chose to pay for a lift at the same time they were removed so her breasts would not be saggy afterward, especially because she is older. Story 32. Breast implant illness is real. Look it up, read testimonials, do not ignore the risk, and be aware for yourself if you proceed. Based on the information, we decided against implants. Story 33. Had a girlfriend with them. I disliked them. I hated the feeling and how they were too big for her thin frame. Story 34. I think you have insecurities as well if you look like you do and are still considering this. Your husband's opinion is more important than a group of internet users. They currently look proportional to your body, so the clothing issues are mostly related to height, not breast size. Story 35. The best outcome was that she felt more like herself in her own body. Her increased confidence benefited every relationship in her life, most importantly with herself, followed by me and everyone else. Story 36. My girlfriend has a cups, and no matter how much I tell her they are perfect as they are, she keeps talking about implants. I guess I will know soon. Story 37. Your assurance is what he needs. I have been in those shoes with my wife. I thought her breasts looked great. I did not think she needed implants at all. I needed to confirm with her that she was not doing this for me or because she believed it was something I wanted. She assured me that it was for her and that her decision was not influenced in any way by outside sources. It was solely her decision. So I supported her even though, in my opinion, it was not necessary. I will say, though, they look fantastic. She has confirmed they are all hers. Story 38. My wife has occasionally expressed interest in breast augmentation. I wouldn't discourage her, but when she asks for my opinion, I am honest. I don't really like the idea. I wouldn't mind if she chose to do it, but I have practical concerns. She wants the procedure for her own reasons and would only increase about 1 cup size from a B to a C. I don't like the risks involved, not just the surgery itself, but also the recovery and the lifelong maintenance. It's not like you have to change oil every 6 months, but I've heard some people need replacements multiple times. Implants can rupture or become damaged over time. To me, that seems like a lot of risk and potential headache for a change that isn't likely to significantly alter her already great physique. Additionally, the procedure is very expensive, and insurance typically does not cover it, which is another major drawback. Story 39. Pros. A woman who feels good about herself is much better than one who does not in every way. Cons. The surgery. Story 40. My wife got breast implants and they look attractive on her. People may say things like natural is better. But after 3 years of nursing, she was not going back to the way things were. Do whatever makes you look and feel confident, and ignore the critics. Story 41. They can enhance cleavage when clothed, but they feel hard to the touch. I have never met a pair that felt natural. I do not find them attractive but would never criticize or shame a woman who wanted them. Story 42. I love my wife. She is an incredible woman. She has restored it to its former glory. Story 43. Pros. Large breasts. Cons. Some scarring around the nipple. The most common drawback in some relationships is that women gain new confidence and want to see how much their enhanced appearance has increased their options in the dating market, which can result in the betrayal of their current relationship. Fortunately, this was not an issue in my marriage for several reasons. Story 44. Artificial breasts are a turn-off for me. The fact that they don't jiggle during missionary position and don't bounce when she is on top. You cannot squeeze them and they feel like bags of sand. And there is the unattractive scar underneath. I would take a cups over artificial breasts any day. Story 45. Every person I know who has ever gotten them has divorced. The joke about the ex-husband paying for the implants is true as far as I can see. Story 46. Even at the most superficial level, I am surprised by the no downside comments. I would not be worried about extra attention, but I do not find breast augmentation attractive, at least without some severe deformation or cancer issue. They would not feel the same, look the same, move like natural breasts, have potential for scars, and would be less sensitive to nipple stimulation. I would prefer being flat-chested every day over breast augmentation. Story 47. I do not like them. I had an ex who wanted them, and I told her I would prefer small and natural over larger implants. They just do not do anything for me. Story 48. The title of the post caught my attention. Nothing about you looks like a child. You look like a grown woman. If you want bigger breasts, go for it, but not because you feel like a child. Therapy might help with that feeling. Why do your breasts make you feel like a child? Is your husband insecure because he is short and balding? I can understand why he feels insecure. You post many photos, and there will be even more once you enhance your breasts. He has a right to worry. Story 49. Seeing you, I might be in the same situation as your husband. You are looking beautiful with extra enhancement. If you are yourself, it's fine. It is the environment that, if I were your husband, I would be worried about. Story 50. The easy answer would be saying that you already look great, which is true. Other than that, all I can say is that the bolted-on volleyball look just does not work for me. Story 51. I've dated women with small breasts and large breasts. In the end, the size really made no difference to me. Implants just seem like a look-at-me sort of thing, as if they have nothing else to offer but breast size. I really hope there is more to a person besides the size of their breasts. Story 52. Natural is better, in my opinion. I hate talking about this because it feels somewhat sleazy. A bunch of random people online are commenting on your body and suggesting surgical changes or not. My ex got implants during our relationship after her pregnancy, and she felt it would improve her self-image after becoming a mother with postpartum. There were many factors, but she regretted it almost immediately for various reasons, the main one being maintaining the active lifestyle she had before, where some activities became too awkward to do. Story 53. I wish to fit better in clothing as I currently shop in children's sections because I am also 4 feet 10 inches tall. I want to feel like a woman and not a child. If these are your reasons, you might want to reconsider your decision. My partner is not as short as you, but at 5 feet 4 inches with a larger bust, she is never able to find clothes that fit well. If it fits her waist, it is too tight on the bust. If it fits her bust, it is either too loose or long at the waist. Wanting to fill out clothing can be achieved with bra inserts or padded bras. There are very few augmented breasts that look good naked. Getting implants is a lifetime commitment. It is not a one-time procedure. Even if your recovery goes well, with minimal or no scarring and no rejection, you will still have to get them removed or replaced in 10 to 15 years. Some form of scar tissue or other reaction to the implants will develop during that time, which will have to be removed. To fill the cavity, a larger implant will be required. That is why women often get larger implants as they get older. If at some point you decide to stop getting implants, being left with what you have now is the extreme exception, not the norm. You will likely have less, and they could be extremely asymmetric. Story 54. I personally find them to be a turn-off. However, I would not kick someone out of bed over them. In the end, it is about what you want and what will make you feel comfortable in your own body. Do not listen to anybody else. Make sure your doctor understands in great detail what you want them to look like and what you do not want them to look like. Story 55. You are already very attractive. Why complicate things with surgery? That being said, my wife went through the same self-image issues after having children, and I fully supported her decision to get implants, even though it was not something I thought she needed. She is happy and confident, so I am happy as well. Never once did I worry that other men would look at her. Your husband needs to mature. Story 56. Don't do it. You're attractive already. To answer your question, one girl I dated was petite and had a C-cup. They looked great in clothes, but not so great naked, like two oranges stuck on her chest. I dated another girl who already had implants. She was taller, about 5 feet 8 inches, and weighed around 150 pounds. Her implants looked fantastic since she had some body mass on her. I guess it all depends. But as a man, I don't really care. The best advice I can give is to be confident because confidence is the sexiest thing a woman can wear. Story 57. After having 3 children, my wife said she wanted to get breast augmentation. I told her it was her body and her choice, but advised her not to do it because she thought I wanted her to. I said, if I wanted to marry a woman with large breasts, I would have married a woman with large breasts. They were nice and matched her body type, and I enjoyed them until menopause affected her, and now they are for display purposes only, I suppose. Story 58. As a man, if I were with or wanted to be with a woman such as you, I personally would not want you to get implants. They are not necessary. Naturally cute is much better than enhanced cute if you have that option. Yours are naturally cute. In a partner, I would be okay with it if it came from a healthy and reasonable body self-image issue, and I really felt it would make them feel better about themselves enough that it was worth any risk or trauma of surgery. Even breast surgery is still surgery. I would not care about the increased attention from other men. As long as it made her feel good and she knew she was happy knowing she was loved and wanted before she had any surgery. Story 59. Your choice, but you do not look like a child. Larger breasts will not make you appear more mature, as you are already very attractive. However, if you need them to feel more confident, do what feels right for you. Story 60. It is sad to read so many claims that it boosts confidence. It should not be. Unfortunately, society tells women that they are not good enough if their breasts are small. Those who are most vulnerable to external validation will fall for it. Yes, it is your body and your choice, but undergoing such risky surgery just to boost confidence is not a good decision. A better, less risky choice would be to learn how to be less dependent on external validation. In my humble opinion. Story 61. As a man who loves small and natural breasts, do not. But ultimately, at the end of the day, what you want is what truly matters. Story 62. My wife has no breasts after a double mastectomy following a cancer diagnosis. Honestly, I would not have liked it if she had gotten implants. The same would have applied before the cancer. Story 63. This discussion is becoming extreme, similar to the Ask Women forum. To me, both fake breasts and real breasts are great. I want her to have whatever makes her happiest and most confident in herself. Cost is a downside, obviously, but I view it similarly to optional dental work. It is definitely not something you want to cheap out on. Health side effects are always a possibility. Weigh the risks and decide if it is worth it for you. Story 64. Once dated a girl who was about an A-cup when we first started dating but always said she wanted breast implants. I told her I didn't think she needed them and was opposed to them, but that I would obviously support her decision. She would spend her own money on them. As we got closer to this actually happening, about 6 months into the relationship, I started getting a little excited. Seemed like something new and fun. They turned out great, except quite a bit bigger than I would prefer. She was a tiny Asian girl, so the 32D size was quite noticeable on her frame, especially in an era when it still wasn't very common. Since then, I have dated or hooked up with quite a few women with breast implants. They are usually great in my opinion, as long as they are not oversized. One girl had large implants with no butt, and to me she looked a bit top-heavy. I do love the idea of much less sagging later in life, but for that reason, I typically prefer a smaller chest with natural breasts or very conservatively sized implants. Story 65. I married a woman with a cheap breast augmentation. I hated it. They looked so fake and made her feel fake. We finally divorced for many other reasons. I also dated two women with excellent breast augmentations. I couldn't tell the difference. I loved them. I wish I had married them instead. Story 66. I do not have data to support this, but anecdotally, anyone I have known who was in a relationship before receiving the augmentation left their boyfriend or husband within a year afterward. I can absolutely understand why your husband would be cold to the idea. Story 67. When I see artificial breasts, all I notice is the wrong shape and scars. Honestly, this is just my opinion. I have my own body image issues as a man. Story 68. I would say the only concern is health risks. Implants will require maintenance over the long term, you may lose nerve sensitivity, and do not expect to breastfeed in the future, assuming there is no reaction to the implants. Your situation seems to be because you want to feel like a woman. That makes sense. Good luck with your decision. Story 69. I dated a woman who wanted breast implants even before we started dating, and I tried to talk her out of it. It didn't work, and she went through with the procedure. That wasn't the reason we broke up, but to be honest, it probably didn't help. She received a lot of extra attention and often allowed other women to touch her because they were curious about the implants. I'm just not a fan. While I appreciate a nice figure, fake breasts don't do it for me. They look good for the most part, but that's about it. They don't feel natural, they don't sit right when unsupported, and even the cleavage, which is usually attractive, looks off to me. Generally, they sit too far apart. Story 70. I'm not married, but I have friends and former partners who have had the procedure done. The advantages are that they feel more attractive and confident. The disadvantages are that the recovery was painful, the procedure was expensive, and in a few cases there were complications with the surgery, such as implants not seating correctly and nerve issues with the nipples. In my personal opinion, natural breasts generally look and feel better than artificial ones. Story 71. Whenever a man I know buys his wife new breasts, she ends up leaving him. I do not blame him for being nervous. Story 72. I dated a woman with breast implants. She was a very intense and impulsive woman. I didn't like them. She looked nice with her new breasts. She told me she was flat before, and I personally wouldn't care. She was lovely when she wasn't so intense. I guess I'm a bit intense too. Things blew up. But as for her breasts, she told me it made her feel more like a woman, and I totally understand that, but it was never what attracted me. Story 73. I would be opposed. The risks of complications and impacts on her health, along with the cost, are simply too great for vanity. No matter which ones you get or how good the surgeon is, you will have to have them removed and replaced every 10 to 15 years. In terms of personal preference, I do not like them. They often look like someone just bolted on fake breasts, especially for women who are naturally very small and then get implants. Story 74. Just came to say you are absolutely stunning, especially for being 36 years old. You have no signs of aging at all. Tell me your secrets. You probably do not want answers from other women, but for what it is worth, I think your breasts look great. I never got a breast implant, but even just wearing cutlets, I started to realize it compromised my entire figure and made me look like 20 pounds heavier. Whether this matters depends on my weight. Story 75. I think it is absolutely fair to acknowledge that it can be part of a pre-divorce glow-up. Effectively, a sign that you have mentally quit this relationship and are getting ready to be back on the market again. So the best way to counter this is to invite him to join you in his own glow-up, letting him know that you want him beside you, looking and feeling better too. If he has dental issues, offer to set aside money for getting them fixed, veneers, or whatever is needed. If he has belly challenges, offer a year of a personal trainer or whatever support is needed to help with that. Make it clear you do not intend to leave him behind and that you want him to be in your league moving forward. Story 76. Pros. Honestly, mostly none for anything I would care about after casual encounters. For casual encounters, having large breasts is a turn-on, but not for long. Cons. Lower sensitivity gives me a plastic or unintelligent impression. Why ruin something beautiful by filling it with silicone gel? Story 77. I don't care for fake breasts or how they feel. I love real and natural. That applies to almost everything. Story 78. Everyone, before answering, please look at the original poster's profile. There are many pictures. She is completely fine and actually wants to look like a bimbo or doll. She is the one with a confidence problem and feels the need to constantly show her face and body on social media to gain, social media approval. Does she want breast implants to post more pictures of herself on the internet? Hello? Story 79. My humble opinion is that cosmetic surgery, unless required due to an accident or physical trauma, is never just for you. If you think it is, the reality is that you feel some sort of societal pressure to look a certain way. It might give you a confidence boost, but it is not actually for you. It is for the plastic surgeon and their team. It is for the companies that sell you clothes to fit the new you and help you feel your best self. You are falling for it. Stop. Just be happy with who you are and what you look like. Story 80. When he fell in love with you, he fell in love with the full package, including your breasts. Getting implants is telling him that you're changing something he loves. It will take some time for him to adjust to that. For me, it wasn't a wife or official girlfriend, but a girl I was hooking up with in my early 20s who had great small breasts. I still remember how they looked in this little tank top she wore with no bra. A decade later, we reconnected, and she had large implants. Fortunately, the implants looked very natural and felt pretty natural, although you could tell the difference. There was minimal to no scarring. Still, I would have loved to have my hand on her small breasts again. I completely missed them. She asked me how I liked them, and I gave a half-enthusiastic response. Oh, yeah, they're great. Which I could tell disappointed her. I showed more enthusiasm afterward to keep the mood, but I was still processing the change and mourning the loss. As others have said, natural is always better, except in cases of mastectomy or sagging caused by extreme weight loss. There is something in the brain that reacts to natural breasts, especially when women lie on their backs. It's a drastic difference. Edit. I just saw from other comments that you have pictures. After looking at them, there is absolutely nothing wrong with your figure. All I see is perfection. You need to really sit down and ask yourself if you are chasing the dopamine fix of another positive body transformation by getting implants. You have done a great job over the past few years, and it might be time to appreciate your natural, healthy body instead of looking for the next improvement. Story 81. Not worth it. They will need to be replaced, fixed, or removed, and you will need another surgery. You may not like the way they look when naked. Why ruin a great body? If you are into men checking you out, it looks like you already wear tight, sexy clothes. Story 82. Pros. Great looking, not affected by gravity, nice to touch. They can also be used as a night lamp or to perform a real-life X-ray effect. Press a flashlight against them, and they turn a nice shade of dark orange, allowing you to see inside. Cons, none. Clarification. My girlfriend got them because her doctor discovered a cancerous lump in one of her breasts, and she had it removed. Story 83. I like consensual rough fun in the bedroom. I do not want any sort of distraction in my mind or hers about the likelihood of injury. I think of them like piercings, they kind of get in the way. Story 84. Just wanted to chime in and clarify a few things. I truly appreciate everyone's input and have been reading through as many comments as possible. It's been incredibly helpful and thought-provoking. So thank you. Yes, I have insecurities. That's part of why I even considered breast implants. I'm almost 40, nursed my son for years, and was left very deflated. I currently measure a 34A, and at 4 feet 10 inches, I look like a 10-year-old child in real life, even though I may photograph taller. Don't be fooled by my profile pictures, and I wear very padded bras in most. Several people mentioned that implants boosted their wives' or girlfriends' confidence, and that really resonated with me. Wouldn't we all like to feel more confident in our skin? My husband isn't the only one with insecurities. I'm being honest about my own. To those saying I need to work on self-confidence and body image, you're absolutely right, and I am. I'm in therapy working on body dysmorphia and other deeper issues. This isn't just a cosmetic whim. I'm actively working on healing from the inside out, too. For those who were open about the negatives, thank you. I've taken those stories seriously. It's helped me weigh the possible risks, including complications and even relationship issues. For the men who shared stories of partners who left after getting implants, I am sorry you went through that. But respectfully, if someone is quick to seek validation elsewhere, the issue likely ran deeper than surgery. To those saying I am seeking validation through my other posts, I used to own my own fashion line and enjoy fashion and style, especially sharing outfits I find that can help other short women. I'm not going into this blindly. I worked as an ultrasound technician for 12 years, mostly in women's imaging. I've scanned countless women with implants and seen firsthand the complications, breast implant illness, revisions, cancer screening difficulties, and so forth. That's why it's taken me years to even book consultations. This isn't a decision I'm taking lightly. Breast implants today have come a long way. There are more natural feeling options than ever, and results really come down to picking the right size, profile, and surgeon. Some women end up with an unnatural look, yes, but others look so natural you'd never guess. It's not one size fits all. At the end of the day, I'm leaning toward not going through with it. Unless I'm 10,000% confident in the surgeon, the outcome, and the long-term commitment, I won't proceed. Your honesty has been a huge part of helping me get to that point. Thank you. Story 85. My partner has not had breast implants, but her cousin did after she finished having children. One benefit for me is that she is happy to show them off. From speaking with her husband, he is excited about how it made her 100 times more confident about her body, which has led to a significant increase in her desire for intimacy. Story 86. It was controversial when I allowed my daughter to get breast implants at age 15. Pros: boost in self-confidence, her clothing fit better, attitude improved. Cons: judgment from other parents. The reason was that she had a slight difference in breast size exaggerated by a difference in shape, making it hard for her to find a well-fitting bra. It was more breast reconstruction since the procedure involved reshaping the breasts by removing tissue as well as adding implants. My wife is planning to get breast implants once she has finished breastfeeding our youngest child. Story 87. My mom got them. I even got to see them. After a double mastectomy, I was helping her recover. Story 88. Pros: large breasts. Cons: lift scars, avoid the lift in my opinion. Cost: pain and recovery time. Conclusion: worth it, but do not get a lift because the scars will be noticeable regardless. Story 89. Regarding your husband's insecurities, many men prefer small breasts, and you have not left him. Having larger breasts does not suddenly make you more desirable to other men. Story 90. Cons: just like lip filler, botulinum toxin injections, and lifts, men usually have to pay for them, as well as for their maintenance, replacement, and final removal. Implants only serve a vanity function and increase health risks. Pros: none. Story 91. As a gay man, I know very little about women's breasts, but are there ways to achieve the shape you want without surgery? Are push-up bras or similar options effective? Is it possible to have the desired look without the risks associated with surgery? Story 92. It is not really the man's decision. If it makes her happy, great. I am not really sure what the downside would be. Story 93. My wife experienced significant breast enlargement after a double mastectomy, which increased her confidence. I like the results. However, to another person's point, my wife did have an affair. She got caught up in all the new attention and lost her way. Can happen. We are still working through it. Good luck. Story 94. On one hand, it is great that he feels comfortable sharing his vulnerabilities with you. On the other hand, your body is not his business. You have the right to feel comfortable in your own skin. Story 95. I suppose how a partner views it depends on how one plans to dress after getting the implants. If one intends to show more skin or continue showing a lot of skin, then yes, it is being done to get noticed by other people, both male and female. I knew a girl who posted on social media when she got implants and then posted pictures with the caption, "First night out with them," wearing a low-cut dress. Very bizarre behavior. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.